Hi, Curt Carlson here with my value creation tip for the week. I want to talk about a really important problem, which is how do we do a much better job at value creation and innovation? As you know, we're in an exponentially improving world, and to thrive, and uh, our value creation methods must also be exponential. People try a whole host of things to do a better job, different methodologies, brainstorming, team iteration, coaching, many venture incubators. But rarely do people put together all the ingredients I'm going to talk about today. It makes a big difference. Of note, most venture incubators, for example, are not successful. What are the ingredients we need? Well, we need access to essential knowledge because most of the big opportunities today are interdisciplinary. So we got to bring the knowledge together, whether in our team, our enterprise, or likely it'll include people on the outside as well. It requires intense collaboration and many iterations to be able to put the different pieces of knowledge together to solve the problem. It requires shared language and shared concepts. Different disciplines bring their own language and concepts, but the one they must share is that of focus on the customer and customer value. Um, the next thing we need is a challenging, positive environment. It needs to be challenging so it's motivating, highly motivating, and it has to be positive because negativity actually absolutely destroys creativity. And it has to be focused on, again, learning and improvement. And we need a method to compound the knowledge we're bringing together. And I'm going to share with you a really powerful idea based on active learning, the science of learning. It's called comparative learning, and very few people take advantage of this powerful technique. So how do we make this happen? Well, we do it in what we call value creation forums. These are 3 to 6 teams with 2 to 5 teammates each. They bring in their important unmet need, the problem they're working on. They meet varies. It can be 1 week or it can be every 6 weeks for 60 to 90 minutes, depending on what they're working on. Each team has a champion who's driving the value proposition and a core team. In the beginning, they tend to be small. They should be small because you only want the team members in the beginning who focused on the most fundamental issues you need to address at first. And of course, the forums also allow you to bring in other forms of knowledge and staff and points of view as appropriate because it's going to evolve and you're going to need them. The basic framework is just built around NABC value propositions. What's the need? What's your approach for the offering and the business model? What are the benefits per cost of that? And why is your solution 2 to 10 times better than the competition or the alternatives? So just the fundamentals. And we've described those 4 questions apply to every innovation, and they set the direction for where you're going and what you're trying to do. The presentations are short, 3 to 10 minutes long. When the presenter is done, they're quiet and they listen to the feedback they're going to get. They're quiet for a couple of reasons. The first is we want them to be an active listener, and typically when people are answering questions, they're not listening so much. But also because arguing back and forth that can be adversarial, and that's not the spirit we want in these meetings. We want them to be focused on improvement. The team gives feedback from multiple points of view. What's good, don't forget that. What can be improved, ideas for improvement, eyes of the customer or end user, and eyes of the investor or funder, and others. There's a facilitator who runs the meeting. They organize it. They put out a notice. They describe different focus areas. They set the agenda. They meet with new people beforehand to let them know about roles and responsibilities. If they're new, they'll probably be asked to go to a workshop for a couple of days where they can learn the fundamentals of value creation and innovation. That's what we always did at SRI when I was CEO. And at the forum, the facilitator will call on people for feedback at random. Now, we do this for a couple of reasons. The first is we want everyone to be paying attention and engaged. We want them engaged because we want the quality of the feedback to be really of the highest quality. But we also want them to be paying attention because we want them to learn things that worked and things that didn't work so they can bring them back to their teams as well. And the facilitator will also add additional people and perspectives as appropriate. For example, if issues of intellectual property came up, they'd probably bring in the IP person from the organization to add perspectives on that particular topic. So why does this create exponential improvement? It does because it's a little bit like an eye test. The doctor could give you a new pair of glasses and say, Curt, does that solve your problem? And the answer would be no, because I have a terrible astigmatism. They could give you another pair of glasses and it wouldn't improve much at all. Rather, what she does is she has a device that allows her to flip from one prescription to another. Is it A or is it B? Back and forth, A, B. And there's a small difference. And she asks you, which is better, A or B? You say B, and then she changes it and keeps on adjusting it and asking you to make these decisions until she solves the problem. Well, value creation forums are exactly like this because the presentations are short, so you can remember from one to the next, from one value proposition to the next one. And the other is the framework of NABCs is fundamental. So again, you can remember that and you can compare the different ingredients clearly and easily. Complicated methodologies in a forum like this, like the business model canvas, just don't work. They just, they basically make this impossible. And so this is called comparative learning. It's what we do all the time naturally. If you buy a new car, you do comparative analysis. If you were comparing your data sets, you look at them and you compare them and you see what the differences and the similarities are. And the reason it works here is because the people in these meetings are, very competitive. They want to do a great job. And when somebody does a good job at something like identifying the key insights into the need, they all learn from that. And when they present, they want to do better than that. So it creates a natural ratchet where the teams want to improve, and they want to improve significantly from time to time in each individual forum. But as the forums go on over months and over years, it creates that kind of incentive to improve exponentially. What are the benefits because of this approach? Well, first off, it really doesn't require any significant reorganization. That's how it got started. We started doing this in our teams, and all I had was pizza and Coke money, and that was enough to get going. Eventually, of course, you need to have resources, so that's another piece that has to be added. But of significant note, it really does reduce the time required for innovation, and it gets rid of a lot of waste. Typically, most things that people work on have no value, and it's hard to sort them out. Which ones do you keep? Which ones do you go? Well, this forces those decisions down to the staff who are responsible, and it gives them the skills so that they can actually make those decisions. And what you find is in an environment like this, if the staff can't meet the criteria for success, they typically move on to some other initiative. But on the other hand, the ones that do show progress can be identified and then supported with additional resources over time to lead to success. And while you're doing this, it creates a really valuable staff. People who know how to create value are the most valuable employees in the world. And it engages them because it gives them a place to go with their ideas in a fair, effective way to decide whether their ideas really have value or not. And of course, the end point is that it profoundly improves your overall innovative performance, like it did at SRI, where we, using these methods, we created innovations like high definition television and Siri, which eventually ended up on the iPhone that was bought from us personally by Steve Jobs. So that's my value creation tip for the week. I hope you'll use some of these ideas, and it will help you make your value creation community an exponential improvement community. And remember, it's through value creation and innovation that we're going to make the world a better place. Take care. Bye-bye.